Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks very much for watching our earwax removal compilation video today. 2 patients in this compilation. Now you can see this first patient's ear canal here, very light in colour, this sort of debris in here, which is an indication of one or two things. Either it's going to be a lot of skin embedded in this, or the patient's used some bicarbonate or peroxide drops, which tends to bleach the wax. In this case, it's skin. Look what happens when we pull this first section away. So this section is very soft skin. Patient's been using some olive oil to soften this up. As this comes away, you can see, there we are, it's trailed kind of off, it's pulled the neck section forwards. Look at the neck section, how this forms a sleeve. There we are. You can actually see how that's the ear canal, the surface layer of the ear canal wall skin all come away. Why does this happen? It does happen in some people. What happens with our skin is it grows laterally. It grows like a little conveyor belt out of the eardrum. Now, when you've got the inner part of the eardrum, ear canal, so sorry guys. The inner part of the ear canal, there you are, is surrounded by the skull. The outer part is surrounded by cartilage. Now, as those two bits bump up together, it forms this little kind of speed bump, if you like, in the middle, called the isthmus. Now, as the skin traverses the isthmus, because it goes over the top from one portion to the next, sometimes the top layer can come away, and that's what's happened here. So this patient, that top layer's come away and it's all started to collapse down, but don't think of it as like a flat piece of road or ruler or something like that. Think of it as a cylinder. So the whole thing's traveling down the cylinder and it goes over that bump, and then the whole cylinder kind of collapses down on itself like that, and that's what's happened here. So it tends to form a really good acoustic seal, so the patient really does struggle with their hearing quite a bit. Now when we get this neck section, this is a little bit of wax that's got stuck behind that skin, so you can see it's coming away, little bits of skin now getting sucked in from the outside edge. But as we get this piece out, there we go, and get rid of that bit as well. When we take a look in, see that little sort of lighter coloured ridge you can see just at the top of the canal wall. Now that's where it detached, so you can see it started from that point. So we're just going to take this piece of skin. Watch how this peels away. This is the surface layer of skin we're talking about. Look how all this is kind of concertinaed up in there, and you pull out these longer strips of skin there, and we'll just tidy up this top little section. You can see that's where it started to detach there. So let's get all these little bits away. There we go. We'll take a look at that eardrum. Looking very healthy there, all looking very good. So we're going to take a look now in the patient's other ear. Now, when patients do come through, when we ask them to introduce a little bit of olive oil into their ears before they come along, just for a couple of days. Now, when you do that and you've got these kind of skin issues, which is what we've got in this ear canal as well, it softens the skin and forms this really, really good plug. So the patient feels very, very blocked up. Now, if you imagine you've got that on both sides, you're going to feel really out of sorts. So what a lot of patients will do is they'll oil one ear, and when they experience that they're feeling really blocked up, they are reluctant to do the other ear, which is what's happened here. So now you'll see the skin, the oiled skin, if you like. So look how tough this is. I'm really having to fight this to get it off the ear canal wall because it dries. You imagine it's detached from the layer underneath, so that surface layer then becomes much tougher and drier. It hardens, goes like a leather, and we're really having to kind of wiggle this back and forth to get this out. So a lot of wiggling. Be warned guys, there is some turbo wiggling coming up in a second. So you can see I'm really fighting it, and there we go, look at that. We're sort of turbo wiggle. We're really wiggling those socks off to get this out. And as we're making these circular motions, we're detaching that skin from the canal wall, and then we're bringing it down the canal. There we go, look at that wiggle go. And then as this starts to come away, you'll see it's brought that next section of skin with it. So we've managed to detach that. Now, I know it looks quite kind of aggressive when we move to the wiggle on the outside edge, but don't forget this is dead skin, it's come away. The patient doesn't feel anything apart from a little bit of movement in the ear canal. So we're just drawing this neck section down. Look at this long, ducking down to see, long strip you can see coming away there. There we go. Out, ooh, look at that come away, that's really good. And then, what you always find, or personally what I always find with these particular types, is when you get this kind of skin collapsing down, a lot of the time you'll get this really sticky piece of wax that's sitting just behind it all, that's going to go trapped there and dried out and become really, really sticky and tacky. And that's what's going on here. So you can, oh, just got a little bit stuck in the end of the suction tube there. So we're just going to go back in and get this last little bit out. You can see the little bit of skin there just to the, oh, it's reversed on this one, bottom right corner. There's a little bit of dry skin there. That's holding this piece in. Let's see if we can get a good grip on that section. Oh, that's starting to move. hopefully if it holds on well enough, ooh, is it? No, it's not. It just broke away from the top section, but it's drawn that bottom section, that had a bit of dry skin in it, forwards. So if we get hold of this bit, I think this is going to take the whole chunk out in one go. There we go. Out that starts to come. A good meaty sized piece of wax, that one. Real chunky bit. So we're going to take a look behind that now. There we are. Ooh, you can just see a little ridge. Looks like sunrise, just coming over the top of the anterior recess. So we're just going to go over and nip that little bit away. There you go. You can just see a couple of little a little cilia just dodged into my view there. But just taking away that little bit. Let's look at the eardrum. Good look at the eardrum. Light reflex is present. Look at that. That was, what's that, 5 centimeters? Oh, guys, what would you say that was? 2 1/16, so 2 1/8. I'm trying to be super accurate. I reckon if we bunched it together, it was probably 2 1/16. So you can see all those long strips of skin. Look at the color difference, the very light skin colors, and then this really honey colored wax, which tends to be this sort of stickier type wax behind. Okay, on to our second patient, the compilation now. So this patient's come through, as always, feeling very blocked up in their ear canals and not hearing particularly well. But what you can see here is we've got this kind of slightly tougher bit of wax. Now, it looks really soft at first glance, especially because I can see a lot of oil sandwiched between the canal wall and the block of wax there as well. But when we get a grip on this, I can see it's actually a little bit tougher than I thought it was going to be. But there is a little bit of movement there, so it's not completely solid. So I think what we've got here is this outer dry sort of surface layer of wax, which is a little bit tougher, and then this soft squishy wax in the middle. Now, if you've watched this channel for a couple of years, you know I've referred to this as armadillo wax before, because they're crunchy on the outside and they're soft in the middle. And that's exactly what we're going to get here as well. So you can see I've got the Jobson horn in here, trying to bring this forward, and what's happened is exactly what we thought was going to happen. As soon as we broke through that surface layer and tried to roll this wax forward, that's all it's done, is punched through the surface layer, and then because the middle's all soft and squishy, as we pull out, it's just peeled away and it's just sort of folded forwards. You'll really see it here. It almost goes like a kind of grainy paste, if you like, inside the middle here. I've talked before about sort of fig rolls and fig Newtons. Imagine that, but like a watered down version of the middle of it, which sounds absolutely disgusting, but that's what the consistency of this is like. But lots in here. You can really see that kind of gritty, grainy texture to it there. So we're just bringing this next section, I couldn't remember to breathe, sorry. You've got to bring this next section forwards here. There we are, sticking with the Jobson horn for the time being. With this particular type of consistency of wax, I do tend to stick with the Jobson horn for quite a bit. It's only really when we get to like a very thin layer that's left on the actual ear canal wall, I tend to switch up to a suction tube. Only because to get this thin layer, you have to kind of drop behind it and drag the Jobson horn across the canal wall, which isn't particularly pleasant. But if you go in with a suction tube and lift, it's a lot nicer for the patient. But we'll carry on with the Jobson horn for the time being. There we go. Oh, is it going to crash into the camera? You can see just how sticky this central portion is. As I'm pulling it out, it's kind of hanging on to the cilia for dear life as it comes away. But it's still coming away at the moment. Just going to fold this front section here. Let's get rid of that, and then it's going to give me a much clearer view of the back section of this piece that's stuck to the bottom of the canal wall there. So let's get rid of this one first. There we go. You can see there's a heck of a lot in here. You know, we're taking good portions away every time we take the Jobson horn in there. Right, now I'm going to try and get to this back section, but because it's soft and squishy, if we pull straight through, it's going to rip it all forwards and then just tear a hole straight through the middle of it. So let's just gently touch on this and try and use that tougher surface of the wax against itself and draw this down. And look at the size of that piece when you do that. So you kind of fold it all into itself and then scoop around the back and bring this forwards. There you go. It's actually dragged the next section forwards here as well. Another portion of that drier wax on the outside coming away there. I'd be interested to see how much is left behind and whether we switch it up now and pop the suction tube in here. Yeah, there it is. So when it gets really thin, I tend to now lift. Now watch what happens when we lift this up. There we go, we've detached it really easily. It's become a little bit more mobile, but it is still quite sticky and tacky. So we've got two options. We can either carry on with the suction tube, which I think is what we do in this case, or you could also, when it gets to this point, drop in with the Jobson horn and draw that forward. It doesn't really matter either way, to be honest. We've used both tools, so it wouldn't really matter which one we used. But out, oh, there we go, a little bit of a wiggle, that's coming. Boosh, out he comes. So there we are, that's popped out. You can see a little bit of lighter material, that drier skin. Now, I expected the ear canal here to look really messy, just because that wax is so soft and sticky and tacky, and like it is here on the surface. But as it was actually pretty clear. Didn't look too bad at all there. Let's clear away this section at the front. There. Oh, we didn't go back in. I did show you the eardrum, didn't I? Sorry. Right, so we got 4.5 centimeters. I'm gonna be easy with ruler, and inches. 1 3/4 inches, 7/8, round about that mark. So you can see quite a bit came out. This kind of conker color, this reddy brown color. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did voicing it over. So obviously we'll see you again on Friday, and then obviously we're back Monday, Wednesday, Friday again next week, I think, so far. So as always, guys, take care of your ears, take care of yourselves, and take care of one another, and I shall see you again real soon. Bye, everyone.